Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Hopefully you're having a fantastic week so far. Today I have a trophy guide and roadmap for the brand newly released or re-released Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning on PlayStation 4. This is a remastered version of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which came out last generation, and the Platinum Trophy's not so bad, but it is a little bit time consuming. Let's dive into the video and take a look at exactly how hard this one's gonna be to platinum. Alrighty guys, let's get straight into this one because there is a fair bit to get through here. So Kingdoms of Amalur, if you guys aren't familiar, is a Western RPG style game. It has a graphical appearance similar to World of Warcraft, but probably plays a little bit more like a hack and slash RPG. Maybe think something like a Dragon's Dogma or a Shadow of the Colossus in terms of real-time hack and slash mechanics, but with heavy Western RPG elements. Maybe Dragon Age, Mass Effect, if you want to use some of those as a comparison, and kind of meld those two things together, and you've kind of got Kingdoms of Amalur. This was originally released by EA back in the day, and it has been re-released by THQ Nordic in 2020 for current gen consoles, which is pretty cool to be quite honest. Now, trophy-wise, this one is a probably mid-tier difficulty. The hardest part of it is completing the game on hard mode, and because of that, the trophy difficulty becomes a 5 out of 10. What I will say here as well is the trophy list for this game, and we'll look at it shortly, includes the entire base game from the original Kingdoms of Amalur plus its DLC to unlock the platinum, so you do need to do that additional content. And because of that, it does require a bit more time, hence why I'm saying it's going to take you around 80 or so hours to earn the platinum trophy. This is obviously pretty dependent on how you spec your character. It's an RPG, so play it your own way, but depending on the way you spec your character, the game is going to be easier or harder for you. And how much side questing and grinding you do in the game as well is also going to determine just how much time it spends. Average time spent on the platinum is going to be around 80 hours, I would say. Now, there are no online trophies for this game. There are 3 missable trophies, and they're kind of weird. I'll go over them now really quickly, but they are for, firstly, defeating an enemy that is a few levels higher than you, so 4 levels higher than you. Obviously, this becomes missable when you hit max level because you won't be able to kill any enemies higher than you. And then the other 2 are for using your Dispel ability on chests and also your persuasion ability on NPCs. Now obviously there's only a finite amount of this or of these instances in the game, so they could potentially become missable too. Everything else should be obtainable through normal gameplay, and even these ones here you probably won't miss, but it's worth pointing them out, and I talk about them in the steps to platinum as well. Now there is a difficulty based trophy for playing the game on hard mode, so I'd suggest just getting that out of the way from the beginning. I do want to point out though, there are some people who have commented on the game having glitches if you play the game on very hard mode, so that doesn't unlock the hard mode difficulty trophy. So to be safe, don't play on very hard, just play the game on hard. It's kind of weird, but there is only a trophy for finishing it on hard anyway, so make sure you do that to earn that trophy. It only requires a single playthrough unless you miss any of those trophies that I mentioned before, and then it would require a subsequent playthrough or half a playthrough. There is no need for chapter select because there is kind of backtracking in the game as well. It's a semi-open world, I would say, so you can kind of move between environments. At least the ones that are required for trophies, and there are no additional trophy stacks for this game. Now, trophy breakdown, this is a massive one. There are 62 trophies total in this game. It's a massive trophy list. Like I said, it includes the entirety of the base game's trophy list plus the DLC, the 2 DLC packs as well in this, which to make the full platinum, and it's massive. Now, I've broken this down in kind of a weird way, but I think it's the only way that makes sense. Non-missable trophies, they're your story-based ones. There's only 6 of those. Side quest trophies, these are like your quest line trophies. There's 7 of those across base game and DLC. Well, I guess it kind of just counts as base game for this. There is 1 difficulty-based trophy, it's worth calling out again. 14 combat-based trophies. What I've called collectible trophies, and they're kind of not, it's for picking up particular items in the game. One of them we'll talk about shortly. And then 30 trophies that I've called kind of miscellaneous slash crafting. There is a bunch of trophies for crafting, for discovering areas, for equipping particular items and things like that, and they kind of fit into that misc area because there's not enough of them to really give them their own category. And I know it kind of makes the misc look stupid, but a lot of this is crafting or equipping items or discovering areas, and that's kind of what falls into this camp. I didn't feel that it made sense to split everything out because it just becomes too complicated and redundant to a degree, and I want to keep these as simple as possible for people. Steps to platinum. Now, there's a lot of text here, but there's actually not a lot to this. Now, first step is just start the game up. Make sure you play the game on hard difficulty because there is a trophy for finishing the game on hard difficulty. So that's the first point here. Now, if you find hard difficulty difficult, the game will automatically will suggest for you to lower the difficulty. Make sure that you don't do that because if you do, you'll nullify the hard difficulty trophy. If this is your first time playing the game and you are having trouble, maybe it's worth having a playthrough on normal first. But if you're trying to get this the quickest way possible, start on hard and play through it. It's one of those games that's going to get easier as you go just because you can grind and level up. Any RPG is kind of like that where you play on hard, it starts really hard, but it becomes progressively easier as you learn a play style, abilities, and skills and things like that. That's how that works. Now, there's not really a particular order in terms of earning trophies the quickest way possible. What I would suggest doing is just start playing through the game because there's nothing particularly missable immediately. Play through the game and then keep everything in step 2 in mind, which we'll talk about in a second, and just play it at your own pace. Play it the way you want to play it, level up what you want to level up, and just have a really good time and enjoy it. And that's my first piece of advice. Now, step 2 is while you're playing the game, make sure that you do attempt those 3 missable trophies. The first for killing an enemy 4 levels higher than you. This is going to be something you probably will do anyway. Probably not missable, but just in case you get to the end of the game and you haven't done this, it's worth mentioning. Make sure that you use your persuasion ability on NPCs whenever you get the chance to do it. You have to do this 50 times for a trophy, so once you've done that, you don't need to worry about it anymore. So I'd suggest just doing it from the beginning of the game so that you can get this out of the way as quickly as possible. And likewise, using Dispel on wards, which are basically chests, or magically sealed chests essentially, every chance you get, and knock this one out as well. This requires you to do this 50 times too, and this will basically just mean that you won't have to worry about that one trophy anymore. Now, in terms of the DLC, technically there are 2 other missable trophies that come out of the DLC. One in the Legend of Dead Cal questline or DLC for always choosing the nice option, and one for killing a particular NPC in the Teeth of Naros DLC as well. So there's 2 additional, I guess, missable trophies, technically speaking, from those 2 DLC or quest lines. But when you go into those particular quest lines, you'll be made aware that you're entering DLC quest lines, and you can then be conscious to go for those specific trophies as well. I think those 2 things will probably become more organic as you play through as well, and they're not going to require an entire full playthrough of the game to unlock them. If you do miss them, it's going to require a little bit of backtracking if you have to start another game to do them, but they're not quite as bad as these other 3 that I've mentioned here, which would require obviously a significant amount more playtime. Worth keeping in mind, I guess technically 5 missable trophies if you want to call it that. And the last step is, if you've done all the above, you should earn the platinum trophy. Obviously don't miss those trophies that I've mentioned. The only other thing that's worth mentioning here, and it's the thing we're going to talk about shortly as well, is a trophy called Green Thumb, and that is for picking up 10 of each reagent in the game. And now this, it's a difficult or time-consuming collectible essentially, because there's a number of these, around 20 or so of these different reagents that you need to pick up 10 of each in the game. And let's go into missable trophies and we'll talk about it here. So harvested 10 of each type of reagent. So because there's 20 of them and you need 10 of each, that is quite a number of collectibles, and you need to really just keep track of what this is. The reason this is the rarest trophy in the game is because if you miss one of a particular type, you don't know which type it is unless you're keeping track of it. The game doesn't do that for you. So what I'd suggest doing is creating a spreadsheet or a document or something, noting down which of these reagents you have, and then marking down when you've got 10 of those particular ones, because that means you won't need to then search for that reagent anymore and collect it. It means you can then focus on the other 19 of them that you might potentially need to collect, and that's going to make your time finding them a lot easier. Now, they're not particularly hard to find, they are time consuming to find though, and because there's so many of them that you require, and you might not know exactly which one you're missing, that's where the challenge comes into this. And there's no guide telling you how many you have, and you need a lot of them. Now, the only other thing to mention is the hard difficulty trophy. There is a difficulty mode in this game. Not all games have that, so it's worth mentioning here. Obviously, this is a rarer trophy as well, just because not everyone's going to play the game on hard. Most people are probably going to play on normal, and it's going to push the rarity of this trophy up. So keep that in mind too when you're going for this platinum. Now there are 3 plus kind of 2 additional missable trophies in the game too, so we'll talk about those now just really fast. Firstly, we've got the 2 trophies we've already talked about, Open Sesame and a Wink and a Smile. This is for dispelling 50 chests, as well as succeeding in 50 persuasion attempts. Make sure you do this as you're playing through the game. Next is Out of Your League. This is the trophy for making sure you kill an enemy 4 levels higher than you. And then last we have the 2, I guess, previously DLC based trophies, which are now main questline trophies. Like I said, this is for picking a good option and killing a particular NPC. I don't know, I don't want to go into too much detail on these because it spoils stuff in the game. So when you enter the DLC quest lines, look these up and make sure you don't miss them. That's all I really want to say on that, because I don't like ruining story elements in games. And given you do all of that, you should have another platinum trophy for Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. Now, this was one of the hidden gem games that I would say came out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation that unfortunately just didn't get enough love. Hopefully now that it's come out on PS4, it does get the love it deserves. Fingers crossed. And hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know if it was down in the comment section below. Let me know if this guide helped you earn the platinum trophy. I'm always curious to hear if it did. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and I'm sure I'll be able to help you out down in the comments as well. And if you have any additional tips for KOA that the community might find helpful, please leave them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll see you guys all in the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed the game as much as I did. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
I just wanna real,